Yooka-Laylee Reviewee with comparisons to Banjo-Tooie. Yooka-Laylee is finally out, the Kickstarter darling, which is a spiritual successor to rare 3D platformer games of the late 90s and early 2000s. I want to preface this review by saying I was playing Banjo-Tooie leading up to this release, so there will be some comparisons. First off, the game looks beautiful. The character designs and animations are fantastic. It looks like you're playing a CGI cartoon. A great amount of polish is present in the look of the game. Environments have nice amounts of detail, from flora to fauna. These worlds seem genuinely inhabited with unique oddball characters and quite lively for the universe they're set in. The music is on point as hoped, fun, adventurous, whimsical tunes. Nostalgic, yet new, with a nice eclectic variety. Epic, great stuff. Voices. The repeating of the same sound over and over again to form the character's dialogue isn't quite as charming as it was in the N64 days. But if you like to record your gameplay and do your own voices, this makes it fun. So this could be a pro for some and a con for others, depending on how you feel about it or how you enjoy playing your games. Dialogue. It's pretty solid stuff with a similar feeling to the older titles, but it's less punchy than Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie. Sometimes the joke is just a pun, not a setup or something more. Banjo-Kazooie just felt like they had more charisma and felt more like fully formed characters. Multiplayer, it's a nice addition to the game, but it's just mini games to add some variety and a way to play with friends. Nothing special, but nothing terrible either. Now on to more of the nitpicking. The rolling technique for faster movement turns a little wonky with a wide turning radius and is worse for moving around than Talon Trot, the equivalent in the previous games. Other than that, it is faster. It also depletes your power bar, which is used for powering special abilities, which is a new mechanic that is unfortunately a needless feature for this type of game that only serves to limit the player's actions and doesn't seem to have any positive purpose in these situations. The feathers, which are the stand-in for the music notes of the previous games, which unlock new abilities, are now in singles instead of groups of 5, which just extends a collectathon more than it should. I think they should have stuck with them coming in fives and potentially adding another collectible type to give reason for exploring or collecting with more incentive. You start with a more basic skill set than Banjo-Tooie. The moveset starts out more like Banjo-Kazooie, meaning you have to unlock some abilities which are largely considered standard these days. I would have preferred if the characters had started out more like in Banjo-Tooie, where you already have a decent moveset that gets more fleshed out, or techniques get secondary abilities as you progress. The camera sometimes becomes uncontrollable and locks in place. It also cannot be zoomed out like in previous games, where you could go from close to medium to further pulled away, which did help for certain situations, and it's confusing why they didn't add the 3 levels of camera zoom in this game. An odd misstep. You can either unlock more areas in the same level or unlock a new level. My issue with this is the game does not have a quest log or map to check as a guide in case you can't remember, got distracted during an unlocking cutscene, or take an extended break from the game. I think if you made it too easy to check, it would have given too much of a go here, do this sort of vibe, but some way to check would only benefit the game. Yooka-Laylee goes for a non-linear approach, which earlier games did as well, but this game is more complex, with larger maps, and requires more backtracking than previous Rare titles. So some form of quest log or map would have helped greatly. Also, there's no fast travel within a level, like earlier Banjo games. It's confusing why they'd remove this feature. Not a good choice. My biggest issue with this game is they removed good features from the previous games. I'm fine with the older style of gameplay, but genuinely perplexed. Why did they remove established features? The old school limitations the game had did not heavily affect my experience with the game. It was more poor application of the formula to the new, larger maps without slight calibration. That being said, if this game speaks to you, there is a good amount of content in it and passes my value test. What is my value test? Well, I feel you shouldn't pay more than $2 per 1 hour of gameplay, and this game is estimated at 20 hours for a casual playthrough and about 30 for a completionist run, so I do feel it's a good value even at this price point. A more technically scrutinizing rating would have to be an 8 out of 10 because it was technically flawed, even though I did enjoy it and was able to look past most of its flaws. My personal experience with this game, I'd give it an 8.5. It has some shortcomings and head scratching removal of features. However, it is still a rather nicely polished game. I had enjoyment and it didn't ruin my fun either. I felt the same amount of enjoyment when playing Banjo-Tooie, but to clarify, I fall within the niche this game is made for, and I recently have been playing Banjo-Tooie, so no nostalgic goggles for me. I think when people compare this game to the originals, they tend to forget what it's like to play one of these games for the first time. It's not nostalgia playing a trick on them. The previous games did not hold your hand, and a lot of people have memorized those games now, which makes light of the shortcomings. Yooka-Laylee is a great game, a true spiritual successor, but to me does not exceed expectations nor bring anything drastically new to the formula, which, to be honest, I'm fine with because we finally got a game that deserves the title of Banjo-Threeie.